Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a major step forward in our JMeter series. In our last video, we installed the custom thread groups package. Now it's time to put those tools to work. We are starting with the most important advanced thread group for modern performance testing, the concurrency test group. So how to add it to your test plan? Just create a new empty test plan and then right click on it and then click the add, and you see this under the threads user. So you have many thread groups here. In this video we will look at the concurrency thread group. So click on this and there you go. So if you have the standard JMeter thread group, you know it can be very limited. You set a number of users and a ramp up time, but it does not give you fine controls over how these users arrive or stay on your application. The concurrency thread group changes that completely. It is designed specifically to help you target and maintain a specific number of concurrent virtual users, making your tests look exactly like real-world traffic patterns. So let's walk through every single setting on the screen so you know exactly how to configure it for your tests. So at the very top, you see the name and comments fields. So you can leave the default name as it is, or you can rename it for your own application, my site, load test, or any whatever name you want to give. And the important thing is this name should be readable so the others can understand it. You can leave the name as it is. You can write my thread group or any other meaningful name. And the next section is the comment section, which is a great place to write notes for yourself or your team about what this specific workload model is trying to achieve. So right below is a critical section called the action. What is the action to be taken after a sampler error? So this tells JMeter what a virtual user should do if a request fails, like hitting a server error or a timeout. You have 5 options here. The first one, continue, which is the default. If a request fails, the user simply ignores it and moves straight to the next step in your script. So that's this continue. The second option is start next thread loop. So what this means is if an error happens, the user stops or the thread stops whatever it is doing in that specific cycle. It aborts the remaining steps and jumps right back to the very beginning of the script to start a brand new loop. The third option is stop thread. So what this means, when you say stop thread, whenever a failure or any error occurs, that step completely stops. So that's what happens. So this completely, actually what it means is it completely shuts down the specific virtual user that hit the error. So do not worry about losing your load. You might be thinking, oh, whenever a failure occurs, I'm going to lose thread because it is going to stop the thread completely. No, the JMeter will automatically spin up a brand new user to replace this lost thread, and it does that in order to maintain your target concurrency. So, and the last 2 option, the next one is the stop test will send a graceful shutdown signal to every single active user because it is stopping the test. So all the threads will begin to shut down gracefully. They will be allowed to finish the specific request they are currently running, and then the entire step will eventually come to a stop. And the next one, the last one, is the stop test now. What is this? Is a forceful shutdown. It doesn't shut down gracefully. It cuts off all connections instantly when the test is in the mid execution. So which will usually show up as connection errors in the final reports. So for most tests, stick with the continue option or the start next thread loop. These are the best way to keep your data clean. Now let's look at the core settings that shape your load test. The first is the target concurrency. So this is your final goal. So what is this? It is the total number of actual the active parallel virtual users you want to be running on your application once the full ramp up is complete. Let's say you want to achieve a target concurrency of 100 users, then and that is what you have to put here, and right next to it is the ramp up time. So this is how much time it takes. So this is in minutes. Let's say you want 5 minutes to come to the concurrency, to achieve the target concurrency of 100 users. So what it's going to do is it's going to take 5 minutes to ramp up, and that is a total time to achieve the target concurrency. And the next one is the ramp up time. That's what we saw now. And then the next one is the ramp up steps count. What this steps count is, this is where the magic happens. So if your concurrency is, let's write like here is 100 users and your ramp up time is 5 minutes, you set the step counts to, let's say, 5. What that means, let's put this one, clear this one. So here I have 100 ramp up time of 5 minutes and step counts of 5. So what happens is JMeter will split your users into 5 even groups. So that's why you are seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. So 5 minutes and 5 steps. So every minute it is going to increase the load by 20 V users. So it will add 20 users every 1 minute. So you can see here 20, and after a minute 40 users, and after another minute you load is increased to 60 until it reaches the target concurrency of 100 users. So it's going to add these 5 steps. So you can see how it creates a beautiful staircase pattern. So if you leave this field to 0, what will happen? JMeter will do a smooth, continuous, linear ramp up instead. So you can see here a continuous linear ramp up. So if you want to do it in steps, you add 5 steps. So that's the very important setting here. That is the ramp up steps count. And the next one is the whole target rate time. This is also in minutes, and this is how much time you want to hold the load. Once it reaches the 100 concurrent users, let's say you want to run the test for 15 minutes, you can say 15 minutes or 5 minutes or whichever time you want to. So you can enter any number here. So that's the option here. So this is your steady state. So it maintains the load at a steady state for that much duration. So it tells that JMeter exactly how long the users should stay active at the peak load, the maximum load, which is the steady state load of 100 users. So it's continuously going to loop your test scenario, and before your test will eventually come to an end. So it will keep looping for 5 minutes. And at the very bottom, you can see some advanced mechanics here. You have the time unit here, which is in minutes or seconds. So you need to be careful which you choose, because once you choose the seconds, the ramp up time will be in seconds and the hit target rate time will be in seconds. So make sure you want the correct time unit, so you don't say 5 minutes here and someone accidentally goes and selects the seconds and your test is going to run only for 5 seconds. So this is a very important setting here. And you also see the next field is the checkbox for the same user on each iteration. And before that, there is a threshold iterations limit. So the thread iterations limit. So what this is, if you leave this blank, that means your virtual users will loop the script infinitely forever until the steady state time expires. So if you enter a number here, let's say if you enter a number 10 here, it means the single user can repeat the script 10 times before it is forced to stop completely. So those are the important one. So you should be very careful here also. And the next one is the thread iterations. So at the very bottom you see the time unit, which is in minutes or seconds. So you have to toggle it, and you can switch between minutes and seconds, and you have to be very careful here, because this choice strictly dictates the time, the scale applied to your ramp up time. The ramp up time and the hit target rate time, they are in minutes. So you should not accidentally change it to seconds because this might now look like the ramp up time is 5 seconds and the whole target is also 5 seconds. So the target, right? So we need to make sure this time unit is set correctly. So this is an important option. And the next one is the thread iterations limit. So leaving this blank means that your threads or your virtual users will loop your script infinitely until the steady state time expires. So let's say if you enter a number like 10, what that means is a single user thread can only repeat the script 10 times before it is forced to stop completely. Then you have a checkbox for the same user on each iteration. So if you check this box, this tells JMeter to keep the exact thread state, cookies and cache details across every single loop. So this mimics a single persistent user session. So the same user is going to repeat the steps because we are storing the cookies for the user. So on each iteration, it is the same user who is going to come to the site and do the entire thing, all the steps. But if you leave it unchecked, right, that means JMeter will clear the cookies and cache at the end of every loop or every iteration. So the next iteration will look like a completely brand new visitor to your server. So uncheck it. So check it if you want to simulate the same user coming back to your site. So since he's already logged in, so it will simulate the same user coming to the site and does the same steps again and again. And finally, there is an option for the log thread's status into file. So it is you can obviously see. So if you have to provide a local directory path and a file name, something like there's a text file or any simple file to test.log or test.txt, which you can then open in Notepad or any text editor to see the actual logs. So what this setting does is, once you give this file name, JMeter will write a real-time log with all the details of the exact timestamps of when every individual virtual user or the thread starts up and shuts down during your execution. So this thread group, basically you can see, is an absolute must-have for professional performance engineering because it gives you all that control, the total control, without crashing your machine. So in our next video, we will look at the ultimate thread group, which is another advanced thread group here. So this one, so that's what we will be covering in our next video. So if you found this detailed breakdown helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you do not miss the rest of this framework series. So I will see you in the next video.